You ever have one of those days where you step into your own house and for a split second you're not sure you're in the right place, like you crossed into the Twilight Zone or something? Yeah, that was me last Tuesday. I'm Darius Johnson, 34, single dad, IT guy, living in Scottsdale's Riverside Meadows. Normally I work from home. Keeps life simple. But that day, the server in my downtown office flatlined, and wouldn't you know, a 2-hour pit stop turned into an 8-hour marathon. By the time I got home, all I wanted was to crash on the couch and watch something stupid on TV. But soon as I cracked open that door, the hair on the back of my neck shot up. There was noise coming from upstairs, thumping, scraping like someone was dragging furniture around. Now, my boy Kobe was at his mom's for the week, so the house should have been dead quiet, but no. I put my bag down slow, grabbed my old baseball bat from the closet, just in case. Maybe it's paranoia, but living as a black dad in a fancy neighborhood with an HOA that thinks it's the Secret Service, you learn to trust your instincts. Survival, not paranoia. Upstairs, the noise got clearer. And then I heard a voice, a woman's voice, sharp, nasal, dripping entitlement. Yes, honey, I'm just about finished clearing out this room for Trevor's art supplies, she said, like she was discussing what wine to serve at brunch. The previous occupant left so much junk, but don't worry. I'm handling it. Previous occupant. Junk. She was talking about my son's room. My son. I live here, bought this house fair and square after my divorce. And there she was, acting like my family was yesterday's trash. I crept up, hands sweaty on the bat, half convinced this was all some mix-up. But the minute I peeked through Kobe's door, my worst suspicions landed. Brenda Hutchinson, queen of the HOA, decked out in skin-tight yoga pants and a leopard print hoodie, packing up my boy stuff like she was Marie Kondo on a mission. There were boxes labeled Trevor's Art Storage, and she was just tossing Kobe's clothes and toys in like it was nothing. When I saw her throw his favorite stuffed elephant in a trash bag, I nearly lost it. But I held it together, had to, because Brenda doesn't do anything random. Everything's planned, calculated. I spotted official-looking documents on Kobe's desk. HOA letterhead, of course. Now I'm shaking, half with anger, half just disbelief. I take out my phone and start recording, because whatever game Brenda's playing, I'm not letting her set the narrative. I open the door, keeping my voice steady even though I want to scream. What exactly do you think you're doing in my son's bedroom? I ask. She turns, cool as a cucumber, fake smile plastered on. Oh, Darius, I was just about to call you. I'm helping transition this space for its new purpose. New purpose? That's when she starts waving around some made-up bylaw. 47C, subsection whatever, the sort of thing only Brenda could invent. She says if a room is unoccupied for more than 14 days, it becomes community storage. I look at her like she's lost her mind. This isn't a storage unit, Brenda. This is my home. My son's room. She gives that smug look, says Kobe hasn't been there in 2 weeks, so technically it's vacant. And then she pulls out a key. Yeah, a key to my house like that makes it all okay. Turns out, the old realtor lockbox was still on my back door. She must have cracked the code. I ask her, straight up, where'd you get that key? She grins, says the HOA has emergency access protocols. That's when I call the cops. She doesn't blink, keeps packing, says she's doing me a favor because her son Trevor is talented and needs space for his art. Then comes the line that hits me sideways. She says, unlike some children who just leave toys lying around. The casual racism, the entitlement, it's like a punch in the gut. I tell her to get out, but she pulls out another paper, says it's a court order. My anger's boiling now, but I hold steady. Let's see what the police say. I tell her. I call 911. And just like that, Brenda starts her own call, loudly, so my dispatcher can hear, saying there's an aggressive black man threatening her while she conducts official HOA business. She's literally standing in my kid's room, stealing his stuff, and calling the police on me for being threatening. You can't make this up. The dispatcher is calm, tells me to stay on the line. Sirens get closer, and I know this next part could go sideways. Everyone knows how these scenes play out, and Brenda's white tears are already loading. When the cops arrive, it's a middle-aged white guy, Officer Patterson, and a younger black woman, Officer Williams. Brenda goes full drama queen, hands clutching her chest, voice quivering, painting herself as the victim. But Officer Williams cuts right to it. Ma'am, what kind of authorized business involves packing up someone else's belongings? Brenda fumbles, starts reciting the same bylaw nonsense, but Patterson interrupts, asks me for ID and proof of ownership. I show him my license, mortgage. Williams takes a good look at the boxes, reads the labels. Then Williams asks Brenda, "Do you have written permission to be in this home?" Brenda snaps, says she doesn't need permission. She has HOA authority. Patterson almost laughs. That's not how property law works, ma'am. Brenda insists she has documentation, but when Williams asks for the court order, Brenda panics, flipping through her stack of papers and coming up empty. Williams is patient, but firm. Ma'am, if you don't have a valid court order, you're trespassing. Brenda gets loud, says I'm only causing trouble because I don't like following community rules. Patterson's writing all of this down. Meanwhile, Williams spots the key in Brenda's hand and asks, "Where did you get that key?" Now the whole game is up. Brenda tries to play it off, says she got the combo from the lockbox, claims it's not stealing, says the house is problematic. And then she launches into a tirade about Kobe's posters, his music, even the basketball hoop, says my son's music is not the kind of sound we want echoing through our community. The racism's not even subtle anymore. Williams asks, "Are you saying you broke in because of the kids' music?" Brenda says some people don't understand how to be proper neighbors, lets the sentence hang in the air. Everyone in the room knows what she means. Patterson spells it out. So you used an unauthorized key, entered this house, and started removing a child's belongings because you disapproved of their lifestyle? Brenda doubles down, says it's about community standards. Williams finally shuts it down. That's called burglary. Brenda's face goes pale. Patterson cuffs her. She starts to cry, pleads with me, says she was just thinking of her son's future. I tell her the only thing I understand is that she tried to steal my son's childhood. As they lead her out, still protesting, I feel this crazy sense of satisfaction. Justice, for once, might actually be happening. But it doesn't stop there. After the dust settles, Detective Sarah Martinez from Scottsdale PD drops by. She's all business, spreads out Brenda's paperwork on my coffee table, and points out that the court order Brenda kept waving around is just a template from some website. Never filed, never signed, totally bogus. Turns out Brenda isn't even the HOA president anymore. She was kicked out months ago. But she kept acting the part, kept harassing families, especially minorities. Martinez found surveillance notes in Brenda's house, like actual logs of me, Kobe, even our friends. Notes about our music, who visited, how long bikes were left outside. She even had emails with other neighbors, plotting strategic pressure to force the wrong element out. Turns out she'd been running a full-on campaign, targeting at least 3 other families, Martinez, Nguyen, Patel, all minorities, all harassed until they moved or nearly did. Now the FBI's involved, and Agent David Park sits in my living room with Martinez and Janet Kim, and attorney neighbor Brenda, also harassed, laying out the case. 7 families targeted, coordinated complaints, fake violations, surveillance, emails plotting harassment, straight-up federal civil rights violations, not just burglary. And it turns out some neighbors knew what was going on. Tom Williams from across the street admits he saw Brenda watching us with binoculars, moving cameras around, and even tried to recruit him for her neighborhood watch, which was just code for stalking minority families. Janet Kim shows me a stack of violation letters Brenda sent her family. Inappropriate gardening, offensive barbecue smells, complaints about her mother-in-law giving Korean cooking lessons. Her teenage daughter started begging to move, embarrassed by the harassment. Same with other families. One by one, folks start opening up. Maria Santos, who'd barely spoken to me before, calls in tears, apologizing, saying she wishes she'd done more. You know what I mean? It's like once the dam breaks, nobody wants to admit they saw the flood coming. A few months later, I'm in federal court watching Brenda face the music. She looks nothing like the HOA queen she used to be, more like a tired ghost. The judge reads out the charges: civil rights violations, burglary, false police reports. The jury doesn't buy Brenda's act for a second, especially after hearing her on tape explaining how the wrong kind of people hurt property values. Judge gives her 18 months in prison, probation, community service, cultural sensitivity training, and a restraining order from every family she targeted. On top of that, Janet organizes a class action suit, and the payout is enough to make even the HOA's board start reading their own bylaws for once. But here's the twist. After Brenda's gone, the whole neighborhood starts to heal. Folks who barely spoke to each other are suddenly chatting, sharing meals. Families that were thinking about leaving stick around. The Vietnamese family installs a gorgeous garden. The Patels throw a Diwali block party, and even the Okafors move back in. And Kobe? He puts up new superhero posters in his room and asks if he can finally play basketball without someone calling the cops. You bet. I tell him, be a kid, live your life. Oh, and Brenda's own son. The artistic genius who supposedly needed my son's room? He gets arrested for spray painting gang tags on the mailboxes. Justice, as they say, is poetic. Brenda even sent me a letter from prison, trying to spin it all as a misunderstanding, never once apologizing, just doubling down on her community standards talk. I tossed it in the trash. People like her never really learn. It's been a year now. Brenda's still locked up. The HOA has new rules that actually protect families, and Riverside Meadows is the kind of place it should have been all along. And every time I pass that empty house Brenda used to rule from, I remember, sometimes the people most obsessed with keeping the wrong kind of people out are the real problem themselves. So let me ask you, what would you have done in my shoes? Who really gets to decide what kind of family belongs in a neighborhood? And where do we draw the line between community standards and outright discrimination? Drop your thoughts below, because honestly, this is the kind of conversation that shapes what justice really means in America.